Okay, you know what? I was going to start with a big spiel about how I've watched professional wrestling since I can remember. But you know what? Forget that. The real news story here is the fact that there is a new world heavyweight champion. And you know what? Sorry for my subscribers that may have not watched Impact Wrestling. Missed it on Sunday and just planning to watch the repeat tomorrow night. I'm not sure the Sky channel, but it's on Freeview. Challenge is on Freeview on channel 46. But I couldn't resist it myself. You know what? On Sunday nights, Challenge, because of scheduling changes, are now premiering Impact Wrestling on Sundays at 9 PM. Now, this causes a problem for me because, as I said in my previous videos, I am always tuned in at that time if it's on, and normally most 95% of Sundays it is on, just occasionally due to whatever the guys are up to. It sometimes very occasionally changes, but I always listening at that time from 8 PM to 10 PM or just after 10 PM. Sometimes we overrun. There is the program Ministry of Slam at ministryofslam.com. It's an internet based wrestling radio show. I'm all listening to it and in the chat room at the same time, and that causes a problem for me because sometimes normally there's a couple of programs my mum or my dad tapes, which means I can't Sky Plus it, and I don't have recording facilities on my own TV, which means normally I miss it, and normally I just ignore Impact Wrestling because, like I said, it's repeated on Tuesday. This week, unfortunately, I decided again to play my new Batman game. Unfortunately, I shouldn't have done that but although, yes, it's a good game, but I couldn't resist any longer. Not waiting until tomorrow. Just a couple of hours ago, I went through wrestling websites checking the results of this week's Impact Wrestling program. I couldn't believe my eyes when I clicked on one. Now, the website I normally go to is run by Bill Apter. I mentioned it before. It's by Bill Apter. It only uploads articles on genuine news items. That's why I've got cold for about a couple of weeks. It only reports genuine news items and interviews with top stars like Lanny Poffo and several others. It's onewrestling.com, the number one wrestling.com, all one word. It's the best website I found for genuine news. I hate going to these rumour sites with a source says or an insider says. I hate those. If you can't prove it's 100% true, don't put it up. I know that's what the internet's based on, but you know what? I hate all these rumour websites. It just annoys me because most of this stuff turns out to be absolute rubbish. Because I've seen it before. Reports of, they're hosting a WCW reunion. That didn't happen. They're holding this, they're doing this, they're doing that. Doesn't happen. But you know what? On onewrestling.com, they only report actually genuine news items. And you know what? I couldn't resist it any longer. Because after what happened at Bound for Glory, I couldn't resist. And I checked on onewrestling.com for the Impact Wrestling results of the weekly program. And I could not believe my eyes. Last Sunday, Kurt Angle retained his TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Robert Roode in a good match. I've seen it, and it's a good match. But, however, come Impact Wrestling, Robert Roode challenged Kurt Angle for a rematch. Before this rematch can be completely agreed and officially put on the table, Cowboy James Storm stepped in and challenged Kurt Angle for a world title match. Now, Kurt Angle of course said there's at least 10 guys ahead of you, which there probably is, but Dixie Carter made the match. So the main event of Impact Wrestling, I believe it is Kurt Angle, current reigning TNA Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, versus Tennessee Cowboy James Storm. Now, sorry if I'm going to spoil this match. I've already spoiled it with the opening line, but if you don't want to know the result, stop watching this video now. But you know what? You've gone this far. You might as well hear the full story. It's on Challenge TV tomorrow. But however, I'm going to say it anyway. So if you want to watch it. If you don't, whatever. But you know what? There is a new World Heavyweight Champion at TNA, because the match was a very quick match. Kurt Angle versus James Storm. Now, as everybody knows, if you have an opponent in professional wrestling against the ropes and you continue to attack them, the referee uses a 5 count. On the count of 5, you are disqualified. Now, Kurt Angle had James Storm in a corner. He punched James Storm until the count of 4, when he broke, of course, like to avoid disqualification. He did that twice. He turned around, he taunted with his hands up in the air in the normal taunt, but fully extended. You can't see it on the video properly, otherwise the sound goes away. But on this camera, anyway. But Kurt Angle turns around, taunts to the crowd. This gives enough time for James Storm to rise to his feet, and the last call super kick as Kurt Angle turns around, right to the chin of Kurt Angle, which knocks Kurt Angle down. Looking at the lights, Storm immediately covers Angle, and it's 1, 2, 3. New TNA Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. It's Tennessee Cowboy James Storm, and that's fantastic. One half of beer money gets the World Heavyweight Championship. Now at that point, James Storm leaves the ring, goes into the crowd, cracks open, drinks the beer off. Stone Cold Steve Austin way, pours most of it down his face, as you know, he opens his mouth, and you know, you've seen Steve Austin do it countless occasions. James Storm has a bottle of beer, a brand, but I won't name the brand because I don't think YouTube allow that, but he has the bottle, pours it all over him, gets some in his mouth, has a couple of bottles, stays with the fans for about 2 minutes, returns to the ring. At this point, Robert Roode, AJ Styles and Kazarian is down at the ring. Robert Roode gets given the title by James Storm, says this should be yours. Robert Roode, at this point, of course, like I said, when James Storm wins the title, I should add, the crowd go absolutely mental. They cheer loud, and a couple of comments on a couple of the YouTube videos that I've seen this on say that, oh, I was there and this is genuine, this is fake. The crowd were going mental for at least 20 minutes, even after the program ended, when they were posing in the ring and showing off the world title. The crowd were still going mental. But anyway, the crowd are going mental, chanting at James Storm, you deserve this, you deserve this. And Robert Roode puts the title belt, ends up saying, holds the microphone in his hand, said, I agree with the crowd, and puts the title around the waist of James Storm. That's where the video I've seen ends. But you know what? It's fantastic that James Storm is now World Heavyweight Champion. TNA Wrestling needs to put more younger guys in the world title picture. That's how WCW and ECW collapsed on their rear ends, because they didn't push younger guys into the world title. I've got a poster of one of the last issues of WCW magazine, came out with a poster of all the WCW world champions, and I'm talking about after the left NWA and after all this Ric Flair, who's the undisputed champion, wrangle was all sorted, and there isn't very many names. The obvious: Ric Flair, Vader, Sting, Ron Simmons, Lex Luger, Bret Hart, Nash, Hogan, Lex Luger, you know, all the normal game names, but there isn't that many names. If you look through the history of WWE, there's lots of different names. And you know what? This is fantastic that James Storm has won the world title. It proves that Impact Wrestling can take a step in the right direction. Now, very quickly in closing, well, this will extend it a couple of minutes. There's already haters out there. There's already trying to find results and reaction on another couple of websites. Before I do this video, I read a couple of websites that said, oh, there's already heat in the locker room that James Storm isn't the man to carry the title and shouldn't be world champion. You know what? Forget it. James Storm has worked his rear end off. I've watched Impact Wrestling since it started, and you know what? Since the very first show I've watched it, and James Storm has always been there as a part of America's Most Wanted with Chris Harris, and their wars with Triple X, Christopher Daniels, Loki, and Elix Skipper, through their wars with Sports Entertainment Extreme, through their Team Canada battles, right through to Beer Money and this Immortal Fortune feud. From day number one, James Storm has been there. And I'm not saying that other guys haven't worked their rear ends off and deserve opportunities, because there are a few guys that do. And you know what? I think that James Storm winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship can only be a good thing. So what, there's other people say, oh, maybe you shouldn't be champion. Whatever guy you get as world champion, there is people who says he shouldn't be. And you know what, I haven't watched WWE Vengeance yet, so I'm going to review that another time, because I haven't had the chance to watch the pay-per-view last night. Although I know a couple of things have happened, like the interesting main event between Cena and Alberto Del Rio, that they battled around the collapse ring. But you know what, getting back to James Storm, because that's another video for another while when I finally get to watch Vengeance. I'll have the opportunity to watch it. And you know what, James Storm deserves his world title. I thought Robert Roode deserved to win the world title at Bound for Glory. Didn't happen. Hopefully sometime down the line, Robert Roode, if James Storm loses it and Robert Roode takes it back for the Fortune stable. But you know what, that's down in the future. I hope, and I've already tweeted James Storm congratulations on his victory at Cowboy J Storm, at that lowercase dash, the one that's on the floor. I'm not sure what you call it, but it's the dash, but it's, you know, low down at the bottom line. But anyway, I've already tweeted him congratulations on his victory. He really does deserve it. Like I said, he's been working his rear end off. He has been one of the mainstays of Impact Wrestling from the very beginning. It'll be interesting to see where this new era of Impact Wrestling goes. I really do hope that they're pushing the younger guys, because like I said, I've had too much of in WCW and ECW of old guys. Well, not really in ECW, because they died simply because they didn't have the talent come through after the Rob Band, after the Lance Storms, Team 3D, Tazers all left. They didn't bring the talent through. But WCW was just the same old guys going for the world title. Although they did promote Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, who I've always been a fan of since the days of the Diamond Stud, the Vegas Connection. That's another video for another time as well. But you know what? James Storm deserves his world title. Congratulations to James Storm. Don't care what all these haters and critics are saying. I hope people let him revel in the title. Yeah, if you are watching this in another country, America, wherever James Storm happens to be wrestling for Impact Wrestling, or I know sometimes a lot of the guys do independent dates, less so nowadays because the Impact Wrestling does a lot of house shows, a lot more house shows. But you know what, if you see him, go up to him and on my behalf congratulate him in person for winning the world title, for being such a guy. For, you know what, you look at people and sometimes you think, you know what, that guy's done it, I can do that as well. And you know what, he's been such an inspiration towards many wrestlers, and I'm sure that he's well respected in the locker room, I know that. So hopefully he can help some more young guys come through the rankings, so they could be the next AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, and many other young guys to bring through and go to the major titles. And you know what, for all those guys that don't like James Storm, don't think he's worthy of holding the world title, you know what, I don't care. And you know what, if you think it's awful that he's now world heavyweight champion, then I'll repeat it again quickly. Tennessee Cowboy James Storm is now the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Heavyweight Champion of the world. And you know what, if you don't like it, you know what, the only thing I've got to say to you, and I ain't really actually, but you know what, sorry, but you're damn luck.